The invasion begins. The skies above Earth's major cities darkened as massive ships emerged from hyperspace, their sleek obsidian hulls reflecting the panicked faces of millions below. The Galactic Hegemony, a vast empire spanning thousands of star systems, had finally set its sights on the blue planet that had long escaped its notice. Admiral Zorn stood on the bridge of the flagship Eternal Dominion, his four eyes narrowing as he gazed upon the primitive world before him. His leathery gray skin stretched into what passed for a smile among his species as he considered how easy this conquest would be. "Commence the invasion," he ordered, his voice a guttural growl that sent shivers down the spines of his crew. "Show these primitives the might of the hegemony." On Earth, the first signs of the invasion came as a series of electromagnetic pulses that swept across the globe, disabling electronics and plunging entire continents into darkness. Panic spread like wildfire as communication networks failed and governments scrambled to respond to a threat they had never truly believed would come. In Washington, D.C., President Elena Rodriguez stood in the White House Situation Room, surrounded by military advisors and cabinet members. The room buzzed with a mixture of fear and determination as reports flooded in from around the world. "Madam President," General Michael Chen said, his voice steady despite the chaos, "we're receiving reports of enemy landings in major cities across the globe. New York, London, Beijing, Moscow. They're everywhere." Elena's jaw clenched as she processed the information. "What about our military response?" The general's expression darkened. "Our conventional forces are struggling. The alien technology is. It's beyond anything we've ever seen. Our weapons barely scratch their armor, and their energy shields render most of our tactical options useless." As if to emphasize his point, the building shook as a distant explosion rocked the city. Through the windows, they could see smoke rising from the direction of the National Mall. "They're here," someone whispered. Elena straightened her back, her eyes blazing with determination. "We knew this day might come. It's time to activate Protocol Omega." The room fell silent as the implications of her words sank in. Protocol Omega was a last resort plan, developed in secret by a coalition of world governments in the event of an extraterrestrial invasion. It involved technologies and strategies that had been hidden from the public eye for decades, waiting for this very moment. "Are you sure, Madam President?" the Secretary of Defense asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Once we initiate Omega, there's no going back. The world as we know it will change forever." Elena nodded grimly. "We have no choice. Humanity must survive, whatever the cost." As the orders went out, encrypted and hidden from the prying eyes of the invaders, the true nature of Earth's defenses began to stir. In the skies above New York City, hegemony dropships descended like metal raindrops, disgorging waves of alien soldiers onto the streets below. Captain Sarah Reeves of the NYPD found herself on the front lines, her standard-issue sidearm feeling woefully inadequate against the towering armored forms of the invaders. "Fall back," she shouted to her officers, ducking behind an overturned car as energy bolts sizzled through the air around them. "We can't hold them here." As her team retreated, Sarah caught sight of something that made her breath catch in her throat. A group of civilians, led by a middle-aged man in a rumpled suit, was moving towards the aliens with purpose. They carried no weapons, showed no fear. "What the hell are they doing?" she muttered, ready to run out and drag them to safety. But then she saw it. The man in the suit pulled a small device from his pocket, no larger than a smartphone. He pointed it at the advancing aliens and pressed a button. Instantly, the air around the invaders shimmered, and their armor began to smoke and melt. The aliens screamed in confusion and pain, their coordinated advance crumbling into chaos. Similar scenes played out across the globe as hidden cells of resistance fighters emerged, armed with technologies that no one knew existed. In London, invisible force fields sprang up around key landmarks, repelling alien ships. In Tokyo, swarms of nanobots disassembled alien weaponry in seconds. In Cairo, Energy weapons that seemed to defy the laws of physics cut through hegemony defenses like butter. Admiral Zorn watched in growing horror as reports flooded in from his ground forces. What had seemed like an easy conquest was rapidly turning into a nightmare. How could these primitives possess such advanced technology? How had the hegemony's intelligence failed so spectacularly? "Sir," his second-in-command reported, mandibles clicking nervously. "We're detecting energy signatures unlike anything in our databases. The humans, they're pushing our forces back in multiple sectors." Zorn's eyes narrowed as he contemplated this unexpected turn of events. "Impossible," he growled. "Increase our orbital bombardment. We'll scorch their cities from orbit if we have to." But even as he gave the order, a new threat emerged. Hidden bases on Earth's moon, invisible to the hegemony scans, suddenly came to life. Massive railguns, powered by cold fusion reactors, began firing salvos of hypervelocity projectiles at the invasion fleet. The first shots caught the hegemony completely by surprise. 3 capital ships erupted in flames before their shields could even activate. Zorn watched in disbelief as a quarter of his fleet was reduced to debris in a matter of minutes. "How?" he roared, his composure finally cracking. "How could they hide this from us?" As the battle raged on, humanity's true strength began to reveal itself. It wasn't just the hidden technology that turned the tide. It was the indomitable spirit of a species that refused to go quietly into the night. From the streets of Shanghai to the favelas of Rio de Janeiro, humans from all walks of life joined the fight, using everything from retrofitted kitchen appliances to hastily reprogrammed alien tech. In orbit, the crew of the International Space Station, long suspected to be more than just a scientific outpost, sprang into action. Commander Yuki Tanaka activated systems that transformed the station into a command center for Earth's fledgling space defense network. "All units, this is Skywatch Actual." She broadcast on a frequency that cut through the hegemony's jamming attempts. "The enemy never expected us to be prepared. Let's show them what happens when you underestimate humanity." As the first day of the invasion drew to a close, the galactic hegemony found itself in a position it had never experienced before: retreat. Admiral Zorn, his ship limping from multiple impacts, gave the order to fall back and regroup. "This isn't over," he snarled to his battered crew. "We'll return with reinforcements. These humans cannot stand against the full might of the hegemony." But as the alien ships fled Earth's orbit, leaving behind the wreckage of their first wave, a new sense of unity swept across the planet. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged bloody but unbowed. The secret technologies that had saved them were now in the open, promising a future beyond anything they had imagined. In the White House Situation Room, President Rodriguez allowed herself a small smile as she addressed the gathered leaders. "Today, we have shown the galaxy that Earth is not to be trifled with," she said, her voice firm. "But our fight is far from over. The hegemony will return, and we must be ready. It's time for humanity to take its place among the stars." As news of the victory spread, a mixture of celebration and grim determination filled the hearts of people around the world. They had won the first battle, but the war for Earth's future had only just begun. The next phase would require all of humanity's ingenuity, courage, and newfound unity to face the challenges that lay ahead. In the ruins of Times Square, Sarah Reeves stood with the mysterious man who had turned the tide of the battle. "Who are you people?" she asked, still in awe of what she had witnessed. The man smiled, extending his hand. "We're humanity's insurance policy," he replied. "And now, Officer Reeves, we need people like you to help us save our world." As Sarah shook his hand, she felt the weight of history shifting. Whatever came next, she knew that humanity would face it together, armed with the strength that had always been within them, waiting for this moment to shine. Humanity's hidden strength. As the dust settled from the initial invasion, the true scope of humanity's hidden capabilities began to emerge. What the galactic hegemony had dismissed as a primitive world was revealing itself to be a fortress of ingenuity and technological marvels, carefully concealed for decades. Dr. Amelia Zhao stood in the cavernous underground facility beneath the Rockies, surrounded by technology that would have seemed like magic just days ago. Holographic displays flickered with real-time battle data from around the globe, while teams of scientists and engineers worked feverishly to unlock even more of humanity's secret arsenal. "Dr. Zhao," a voice called out. She turned to see Colonel Jack Harper striding towards her, his face a mix of excitement and urgency. "We've just received word from the Luna base. The quantum entanglement communicator is online. We can now coordinate our defenses instantly, without the risk of hegemony interception." Amelia nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. "Excellent. And what about Project Lazarus?" Harper's eyes widened. "You mean it's ready? I thought we were years away from." "Desperate times, Colonel," Amelia interrupted. "We've had to accelerate our timelines. Lazarus might be our best shot at turning this invasion into a rout." As they spoke, similar scenes were unfolding in hidden bases around the world. In the depths of the Mariana Trench, a secret facility hummed to life, its fusion reactors powering up anti-gravity engines that would soon lift an entire fleet of submersible spacecraft into orbit. Beneath the Sahara, enormous hangar doors creaked open, revealing squadrons of aerospace fighters equipped with technology reverse-engineered from a half-century of clandestine alien crash retrievals. In orbit, the transformed International Space Station, now revealed as the nerve center of Earth's space defense, was a hive of activity. Commander Yuki Tanaka coordinated with ground bases and the rapidly assembling Earth fleet. "This is Skywatch Actual to all Earth defense units." Her voice rang out across secure channels. "The hegemony fleet is regrouping at the edge of the solar system. Intel suggests they're calling for reinforcements. We have a window of opportunity to strengthen our position. All ships, prepare for immediate deployment." On the ground, the integration of advanced technology into everyday life was happening at a dizzying pace. In New York, Sarah Reeves found herself leading a newly formed hybrid response unit, a team of police officers and civilian tech experts armed with a mixture of conventional weapons and reverse-engineered alien tech. "All right, team, listen up," she addressed her squad, holding up a sleek, almost organic-looking rifle. "These pulse rifles can penetrate hegemony armor, but they have a nasty kickback. Make every shot count." As Sarah's team moved through the streets, helping to fortify the city's defenses, they witnessed the rapid transformation of their world. Skyscrapers shimmered as adaptive camouflage systems came online, making them nearly invisible from orbit. Swarms of nanobots worked tirelessly to repair damage and construct new defenses, their actions guided by AI systems that had been waiting dormant for this very scenario. In Washington, D.C., President Elena Rodriguez stood before a hastily assembled press conference, the weight of the world on her shoulders as she prepared to address not just her nation, but all of humanity. "My fellow citizens of Earth," she began, her voice steady and resolute. "The events of the past few days have changed our world forever. We now stand united, not just as nations, but as a species, in the face of a threat that seeks to destroy everything we hold dear." She paused, letting her words sink in before continuing. "Today, I can confirm what many of you have already witnessed. For decades, governments around the world have been preparing for this day. The technology you've seen deployed against the invaders, the energy shields, the advanced weapons, the spacefaring vessels, these are the fruits of a global initiative known as Project Sentinel." Gasps and murmurs rippled through the assembled journalists. Elena pressed on. "I know you have questions. I know there will be those who feel betrayed by the secrecy. But I ask you now to look forward, not back. Our very existence hangs in the balance, and it will take every one of us, working together, to ensure our survival and victory." As the president's words were broadcast around the world, they sparked a range of emotions: shock, anger, fear, but overwhelmingly, a sense of hope and determination. In every city, town, and village, people came together, setting aside old rivalries and grievances in the face of a common enemy. Back in the Rockies Command Center, Dr. Zhao and Colonel Harper watched the president's address with a mixture of relief and apprehension. "It's out in the open now," Harper mused. "No more hiding." Amelia nodded. It was inevitable. But now comes the hard part, teaching an entire planet how to use technology it didn't know existed a week ago. As if on cue, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. A junior officer rushed up to them, his face pale. "Dr. Zhao, Colonel, we're detecting massive hyperspace signatures at the edge of the solar system. It's the hegemony. They're back, and in much greater numbers." Harper's jaw clenched. "How long do we have?" "At their current speed, less than 24 hours before they enter weapons range." Amelia's eyes narrowed with determination. "Then we have work to do. Colonel, initiate Phase 2 of Project Lazarus. It's time to wake the sleepers." As Harper rushed off to carry out her orders, Amelia turned her attention to the global defense network. Humanity had revealed its hidden strength, but would it be enough to withstand the full might of the galactic hegemony? The next 24 hours would determine the fate of Earth and its place in the cosmos. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden assets sprang into action. On Mars, massive electromagnetic accelerators that had been disguised as research outposts powered up. From the moons of Jupiter, stealth platforms decloaked, revealing arsenals of weaponry that outclassed anything that hegemony had encountered. As the alien fleet entered the inner solar system, they found themselves caught in a devastating crossfire. Hypervelocity rounds from Mars punched through their shields, while EMP bursts from the Jovian moons disabled entire squadrons. Admiral Zorn watched in horror as his carefully planned assault disintegrated into chaos. "Impossible," he snarled. "How could they have weapons out here? How could we not have seen this?" But humanity's counterattack was just beginning. From Earth, a swarm of aerospace fighters launched, their hulls shimmering with adaptive camouflage. Leading the charge was Commander Yuki Tanaka, her voice steady as she addressed her pilots. "Remember your training," she said. "Use the gravity wells to your advantage. Hit hard, hit fast, and don't let them adapt to our tech." The battle that ensued was unlike anything in the history of either species. Earth fighters danced between lumbering hegemony cruisers, their advanced maneuverability making them nearly impossible to target. Meanwhile, the Lazarus sleepers coordinated the defense with inhuman precision, predicting and countering hegemony tactics before they could be implemented. On the ground, the situation was equally chaotic. Hegemony drop pods that made it through the orbital defenses found themselves facing an entirely different Earth than the one they had initially invaded. Cities shimmered and shifted, holographic projections making it impossible to distinguish real targets from decoys. Swarms of nanobots disassembled alien weaponry in seconds, while human soldiers wielding reverse-engineered plasma rifles engaged the invaders on equal footing. In New York, Sarah Reeves and Marcus Donovan led a daring assault on a hegemony command post. As they fought their way through alien defenses, Sarah marveled at Marcus's enhanced abilities. He moved with impossible speed and precision, his mind seemingly connected to every aspect of the battlefield. "Behind you," Marcus shouted, spinning to take down an alien soldier that had materialized from a cloaking field. Sarah nodded her thanks, still struggling to process the reality of fighting alongside what was essentially a superhuman. As the battle raged on, it became clear that the tide was turning. The hegemony, for all its technological might, found itself outmaneuvered and outsmarted at every turn. Humanity's hidden strength, combined with the strategic brilliance of the Lazarus sleepers, was proving to be more than a match for the alien invaders. In orbit, Commander Tanaka's voice crackled over the comms, a note of triumph in her tone. "All units, this is Skywatch Actual. The enemy flagship is exposed. Concentrating fire now." A coordinated barrage from Earth's orbital defenses and the distributed solar system weaponry converged on Admiral Zorn's command ship. The massive vessel, once a symbol of the hegemony's invincibility, erupted in a spectacular explosion that lit up the sky. As news of the flagship's destruction spread, the hegemony's assault began to falter. Without centralized command, individual alien units found themselves isolated and overwhelmed by Earth's coordinated defense. In the Rockies command center, Dr. Job allowed herself a small smile as she watched the enemy fleet begin to scatter. "Colonel Harper," she said, her voice calm but filled with determination, "initiate Phase 3. It's time we took the fight to them." As Harper rushed to carry out her orders, the next stage of Earth's counteroffensive began to unfold. Humanity had not only repelled the invasion, but was now poised to push beyond its own solar system. The galactic hegemony had awakened a sleeping giant, and the consequences would reshape the galaxy itself. The battle for Earth had been won, but the war was far from over. As the remnants of the hegemony fleet retreated, humanity prepared for its next great leap. From the defended to the defenders, from the invaded to the liberators. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, waiting to see what this resurgent species would do next. The final push. The holographic war room aboard the ESS Horizon, Earth's first true interstellar warship, buzzed with activity. Dr. Amelia Zhao stood at the center, surrounded by a mix of military personnel and awakened Lazarus sleepers. The ship, hidden for years in a secret lunar shipyard, represented the pinnacle of humanity's reverse-engineered technology. "The hegemony is in disarray," Amelia announced, gesturing to a 3D map of nearby star systems. "But they're regrouping faster than we anticipated. We need to strike now, before they can consolidate their forces." Across the planet, as news of the impending second wave spread, a mixture of fear and resolve gripped the population. But unlike the panic of the first attack, there was now a sense of purpose, of unity. In factories retooled overnight, workers raced to produce more of the advanced weaponry. In hospitals and research centers, scientists worked tirelessly to understand and adapt the alien biology and technology for humanity's benefit. In orbit, Earth's fledgling space fleet conducted drills, crews familiarizing themselves with ships and systems that pushed the boundaries of known physics. Commander Tanaka's voice crackled over the comms, steady and reassuring. "Remember your training. Remember what we're fighting for. Every world in the hegemony was once like ours. Free, independent. We're not just fighting for Earth, we're fighting for every enslaved species out there." As the clock ticked down, humanity prepared for the battle that would define its future. The hidden strength that had been cultivated in secret for so long was now fully unleashed. But would it be enough? The answer would come all too soon, as the skies once again darkened with the approach of an alien armada, and the fate of Earth hung in the balance. Turning the tide. The atmosphere in the Rockies command center was tense as the countdown to the hegemony's arrival ticked away. Dr. Amelia Zhao stood before a holographic display of the solar system, watching as thousands of red dots representing the enemy fleet crept closer to Earth. "Project Lazarus is fully operational, Dr." Colonel Harper reported, his voice tight with anticipation. "The sleepers are awakening across all continents." Amelia nodded, her eyes never leaving the display. "And not a moment too soon. Initiate the Lazarus Protocol." Across the globe, in secret bunkers and hidden facilities, cryogenic pods hissed open. Inside each one, a figure stirred. Men and women who had volunteered decades ago to be put into suspended animation, their minds enhanced and connected to vast databases of knowledge and tactical simulations. In the Australian outback, Major Zhou Chen emerged from her pod, her mind already racing with combat scenarios and advanced weapon schematics. In the Amazon rainforest, Dr. Carlos Vega awakened, his consciousness expanded to encompass breakthrough theories in physics and xenobiology. These were the Lazarus Sleepers, humanity's ultimate trump card. Individuals selected for their exceptional skills and enhanced over years of secret research, they represented the pinnacle of human potential, awakened in Earth's darkest hour. As the sleepers integrated into defense operations around the world, Their impact was immediate. In orbit, ships that had struggled with alien tech suddenly performed maneuvers that defied conventional physics. On the ground, defense grids reconfigured themselves into more efficient patterns, guided by minds that could process information at superhuman speeds. In New York, Sarah Reeves found herself working alongside one of these awakened sleepers, a tactician named Marcus Donovan. His eyes seemed to glow with an inner light as he effortlessly coordinated the city's defenses. The hegemony's first wave was a probe, Marcus explained, his fingers dancing over holographic controls. This time, they'll hit us with everything they have. But they're still underestimating us. Sarah raised an eyebrow. How can you be so sure? Marcus smiled, a hint of predatory anticipation in his expression. Because I've spent the equivalent of 1,000 years studying their tactics in simulation. Trust me, Officer Reeves, we're about to give them a nasty surprise. In Washington, D.C., President Rodriguez received regular updates on the Lazarus activations. Each report filled her with a mixture of hope and unease. These enhanced individuals were humanity's best chance, but they were also a stark reminder of just how much had been hidden from the public. Madam President, her aide interrupted her thoughts. We're receiving a transmission from the hegemony fleet. They're demanding our surrender. Belena's eyes hardened. Put them through. The holographic form of Admiral Zorn materialized in the Oval Office, his alien features twisted in a sneer. President Rodriguez, he growled, your pathetic resistance ends now. Surrender your world, or we will reduce it to ash. Elena stood tall, her voice unwavering. Admiral Zorn, on behalf of the people of Earth, I have a counteroffer. Turn your fleet around and never return. This is your only warning. Zorn's laughter was a harsh, grating sound. You dare threaten the might of the hegemony? Your primitive weapons are nothing against our. Elena cut the transmission with a sharp gesture. So be it, she murmured. Turning to her staff, she gave a single, fateful order. Initiate Operation Slingshot. Colonel Harper, now promoted to general, nodded grimly. Agreed. But we're talking about taking the fight directly to their core worlds. The risks are enormous. Marcus Donovan, the enhanced tactician from New York, stepped forward. His eyes glowed faintly as he interfaced directly with the ship's systems. The risk of inaction is greater, he stated. I've analyzed thousands of potential scenarios. If we don't press our advantage now, the hegemony will return with an overwhelming force. Earth might not survive a third invasion. President Elena Rodriguez, attending via secure holographic link, took a deep breath. Then we have no choice. Operation Starfall is a go. May God have mercy on us all. As the Horizon prepared to jump to hyperspace, similar scenes played out across Earth's hastily assembled fleet. Ships crewed by both regular humans and Lazarus sleepers made final preparations for humanity's first offensive beyond its solar system. In New York, now a hub of Earth's global defense network, Sarah Reeves watched the ships depart from a rooftop command center. The sky lit up with the flashes of multiple hyperspace jumps, a sight that would have been unimaginable just weeks ago. Godspeed, she whispered, knowing that the fate of Earth now rested with those brave souls venturing into the unknown. Aboard the Horizon, Commander Yuki Tanaka settled into the captain's chair, her experienced eyes scanning the bridge crew. All stations, report readiness for hyperspace jump. As confirmations came in from every department, Yuki allowed herself a moment of reflection. They were about to make history, to take humanity's first steps as a true interstellar civilization. The weight of responsibility was enormous, but so was the thrill of adventure. Engage hyperspace drive, she ordered, her voice steady. The stars stretched into lines, and then the blackness of space gave way to the swirling blues and purples of hyperspace. Earth's fleet was on its way to the heart of the galactic hegemony. The journey took days, even with the advanced propulsion systems. During this time, the fleet's commanders and enhanced strategists fine-tuned their battle plans. They knew they would be outnumbered and fighting in unfamiliar territory, but they also knew they had the element of surprise. As they approached the hegemony's home system, tension aboard the ships reached a fever pitch. This was the moment of truth, the culmination of humanity's long-hidden preparations and recent struggles. Exiting hyperspace in 3, 2, 1, the navigation officer announced. The fleet erupted into real space in perfect formation, immediately confronted by the awe-inspiring sight of the hegemony's capital world. Massive orbital structures and defensive platforms surrounded a planet that pulsed with the energy of a civilization spanning thousands of worlds. For a moment, there was stunned silence on both sides. The hegemony had never imagined that the primitive humans could reach their home. While Earth's forces were momentarily overwhelmed by the scale of the alien civilization they faced, Admiral Zorn, who had barely escaped the destruction of his flagship over Earth, stood on the command deck of the hegemony's central defense station. His mandibles clicked in a mixture of rage and disbelief as he recognized the design of the human ships. "Impossible," he hissed. "They couldn't have. Launch all fighters. Activate the planetary shield." But the humans had not come unprepared. As the hegemony's defenses sprang to life, Earth's fleet unleashed its first salvo. Weapons powered by exotic particles and guided by AIs that could predict enemy movements before they happened cut through the alien defenses like they were tissue paper. Aboard the Horizon, Marcus Donovan's enhanced mind processed the battle at inhuman speeds, coordinating the entire fleet's movements. "Their defense grid has a vulnerability," he announced. "Sector 7, subsection Gamma. If we concentrate our fire there, we can create a breach." Commander Tanaka didn't hesitate. "All ships, focus fire as per Donovan's coordinates. Bomber squadrons, prepare for atmospheric insertion. We're going to end this war today." The battle that ensued was unlike anything either species had experienced. Earth ships, though outnumbered, danced through the hegemony's formations with impossible agility. Lazarus-enhanced pilots pulled off maneuvers that defied the laws of physics, while human ingenuity and adaptability kept the aliens constantly off balance. On the hegemony homeworld, panic spread as the unthinkable happened. Enemy ships breached the atmosphere, their weapons striking at key military and governmental targets with surgical precision. The planet's population, long accustomed to being the dominators rather than the dominated, faced the terror of invasion for the first time. Admiral Zorn watched in horror as his command center's defenses crumbled. A squad of human troops, led by a Lazarus sleeper whose movements were a blur of enhanced speed and strength, burst onto the command deck. "Admiral Zorn," the enhanced human said, leveling a weapon that hummed with barely contained energy. "In the name of Earth and all the worlds you've subjugated, you're under arrest." As news of Zorn's capture spread, the hegemony's resistance began to crumble. Across the planet, and then across the Empire, subject species who had long suffered under alien rule saw their chance and rose up in rebellion. Back on Earth, President Rodriguez addressed the United Nations, her voice filled with emotion. "Today, we have not only secured our own freedom, but have struck a blow for liberty across the galaxy. The road ahead will be long and challenging, but humanity has proven that we are ready to take our place among the stars." As the hegemony's leaders were rounded up and their empire began to fragment, Earth's forces found themselves in an unexpected position. Peacekeepers and liberators on a galactic scale. The technology and knowledge gained from this conflict promised to usher in a new golden age for humanity and its newfound allies among the stars. Aboard the Horizon, Dr. Zhao and Commander Tanaka watched as the hegemony capital world slowly stabilized under joint human and liberated alien control. "What now?" Tanaka asked, the weariness of battle finally showing in her voice. Amelia's eyes sparkled with the possibilities that lay before them. Now we explore, we learn, we grow. The galaxy is open to us, Yuki. This isn't the end. It's just the beginning." As the Earth fleet prepared for the long journey home, carrying with them the seeds of a new galactic order, the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. The future that awaited them was full of both promise and peril, but one thing was certain: the human spirit, once unleashed, would never again be constrained to a single world. The age of Earth had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. A new era dawns. 1 year after the fall of the galactic hegemony, Earth had become the center of a rapidly evolving interstellar community. The planet's cities now boasted a mix of human and alien architecture, with anti-gravity vehicles zipping between towering spires that seemed to defy physics. In New York, now home to the newly established Galactic Cooperation Council, Sarah Reeves stood on the observation deck of the United Nations building, watching as delegates from a dozen different species arrived for the day's session. Her role had evolved from city police officer to interspecies liaison, a job that constantly challenged and amazed her. "Still getting used to it?" a familiar voice asked. Sarah turned to see Marcus Donovan, the Lazarus sleeper who had become both a friend and a symbol of humanity's hidden potential. Sarah smiled, shaking her head. "I'm not sure I'll ever get used to it. A year ago, we were fighting for our survival. Now we're helping to reshape the galaxy." Marcus nodded, his enhanced eyes taking in details invisible to normal human perception. "It's a heavy responsibility, but I believe we're up to the challenge." Inside the council chamber, President Elena Rodriguez called the session to order. The room was a marvel of holographic technology, allowing representatives from worlds light years away to participate as if they were physically present. "Delegates of the free worlds," Elena began, her voice carrying the weight of Earth's newfound role in galactic affairs, "we gather today to discuss the ongoing efforts to dismantle the last remnants of the hegemony and to vote on the proposed Galactic Bill of Rights." As the discussion unfolded, touching on issues of interspecies law, resource sharing, and the ethical use of advanced technologies, it was clear that humanity's influence extended far beyond its military victory. Earth's long history of diverse cultures and political systems, along with its rapid technological advancement, made it uniquely suited to help bridge the gaps between vastly different alien civilizations. Meanwhile, in the Rockies Command Center, now transformed into Earth's primary center for xenoscientific research, Dr. Amelia Zhao led a team of human and alien scientists in studying the wealth of knowledge acquired from the hegemony's databases. "The potential here is staggering," Amelia explained to a group of wide-eyed graduate students. "We're not just talking about technological advancements. We're unlocking the secrets of consciousness, of the very fabric of space-time itself." One of the students, a young woman with cybernetic enhancements, a technology that had quickly spread following the reveal of the Lazarus program, raised her hand. "Dr. Zhao, there are rumors that we've discovered evidence of even more advanced civilizations beyond the former hegemony's borders. Is there any truth to this?" Amelia's expression turned serious. "We've found indications, nothing concrete yet, but enough to remind us that our journey is far from over. If anything, it's just beginning." In orbit above Earth, the shipyards that had once been humanity's best-kept secret now operated in full view, producing a new generation of exploration vessels. These ships, incorporating the best of human ingenuity and alien technology, were designed not for war, but for pushing the boundaries of known space. Aboard the newly christened ESS Odyssey, Commander Yuki Tanaka prepared her crew for their maiden voyage. The ship was to lead Earth's first official expedition beyond the borders of known space, a mission of peaceful exploration and scientific discovery. "I know many of you fought in the war," Yuki addressed her diverse crew, which included both humans and members of former hegemony species. "But this mission represents everything we fought for: the freedom to explore, to learn, to grow beyond the limitations others would impose on us." As the Odyssey prepared to depart, a transmission came through from Earth. It was a joint message from President Rodriguez and the Galactic Cooperation Council. "Crew of the Odyssey," Elena's voice rang out, filled with pride and hope. You carry with you the dreams and aspirations of not just humanity, but of all free peoples of the galaxy. Your mission embodies the spirit of cooperation and discovery that we are striving to foster. Go forth, explore the unknown, and remember that you represent the very best of what we can achieve when we work together. With a flash of its advanced propulsion system, the Odyssey disappeared into the depths of space, carrying humanity's insatiable curiosity to the stars. Back on Earth, in a small park in Washington, D.C., an old man sat on a bench, feeding pigeons. Few would recognize him as one of the architects of Project Sentinel, the man who had spent decades preparing humanity for its cosmic trial. A young child, her eyes glowing faintly with the neural enhancements that were becoming common among the new generation, approached him curiously. "Mister, is it true that humans used to think we were alone in the universe?" The old man chuckled, his eyes twinkling with the wisdom of one who had seen humanity transform. "We did, little one. But deep down, I think we always knew we were destined for something greater. We just needed the right push to realize our potential." As the child ran off to join her friends, a mix of human and alien children playing together without a second thought, the old man looked up at the sky. The stars were visible even in the daytime now, a constant reminder of humanity's new place in the cosmic order. The challenges ahead were many. There were still threats to face, mysteries to unravel, and the ever-present risk of repeating the mistakes of the past. But humanity had proven its resilience, its adaptability, and its capacity for growth. Whatever the future held, Earth would face it not as a lone world, but as part of a greater galactic community. As the sun set on another day in this new era, the people of Earth, human and alien alike, looked to the stars not with fear, but with hope and anticipation. The story of humanity's cosmic journey was far from over. In many ways, it had only just begun. The age of Earth had dawned, and the universe itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see what this young, vibrant, and determined species would do next.